Today we will study Argentum Nitricum. If we will see the symptoms of Argentum Nitricum, we will see that intellectual features predominates. And as in mentals, affections are only disturbed in a very limited way. And in mental symptom, there is first of all memory is disturbed, and then reasons are disturbed. He will give you a strange reasons for his actions and doings. He is irrational, does strange things, and he gives strange explanations for his actions and doings, and does foolish things. He has all sorts of imaginations, illusions and hallucinations, and he is tormented by the inflow of troublesome thoughts, especially at night. And these tormenting thoughts trouble him so much and put him in hurry and anxiety, and he becomes fidget, goes out of the house, walks and walks. The faster he walks, faster he thinks, and he walks and walks till he is fatigued, and strange ideas, notions and thoughts come to his mind. He has an impulse as if he is going to have a fit, or he is going to be sick. A strange thought comes into his mind that if he crosses a particular corner in a street, he will have a fit and fall down. So to avoid that particular corner, he will go around the block and will avoid that particular corner out of fear. There is inflow of strange thoughts into his mind while crossing a bridge or on high buildings. The thought comes into his mind to jump it off, or what if he jumps off, or he might kill himself. And sometimes the actual impulse comes into his mind to jump off the bridge, and from looking through the high windows, sometimes the actual impulse comes into his mind to jump off. For more clarity of mental symptoms, I would like to add certain things from A Sense of Materia Medica by Dr. Vitholkas. Argentum Nitricum patient is temporarily obsessed by the strange and irrational thoughts for some time, and then the thoughts vanish, and he jerks his body when the thoughts vanish and he comes to his senses. For example, a man looking from the window that a child is playing in the street and a car passes quite safely, and then he starts thinking and creating a horrible story in his mind. What if the child was not in that point where he was playing, and car has crushed him, and what would happen? And this obsessive thoughts keep on for some time, and then he comes back to his senses with jerking of his body. Another example, a student who is overtired from overstudy wanders away from the subject and sitting on the desk glances at the sockets at what happens if I put a wires into the socket, and he find a wire and he approaches toward the socket, and then suddenly he comes back to himself with a jerk in his body. In Argentum Nitricum, the patient has fear of heights and the fear of high buildings. The idea is quite similar, that either the building will fall upon him or he will fall from the height. Argentum Nitricum has fear of death, over anxious state, as if he is going to die like aconite. But aconite fear is quite different from Argentum Nitricum. In aconite there is overwhelming, tremendous, anxious fear as if he is going to die. Whereas in Argentum Nitricum he has a fixed idea. He has an obsessive kind of thought that at certain hour or 3 hours after he is going to die. A patient during his illness predicts that he is going to die after 3 hours and he watches the clock in agony. And Kent in Repertory predicts the hour of death. There are 3 remedies: Agnus, aconite and Argentum Nitricum. And the idea of these remedies are quite different. He is over anxious when looking forward to do something. When some engagement is there, to meet a friend, or something is expected from him, or he has to travel by railway road and he is anxious till he is on the car. When to go to opera, to church, to a marriage party or somewhere, he is anxious with fear and he breaks into sweat. The anxiety is attended with fear, even to diarrhea like gelsemium. Vertigo from looking high buildings, and he cannot walk with closed eyes. Constitutional headache from brain fag, from exhaustion of mind, and nervous excitement, organic heart diseases, tremblings, liver diseases in those people who are overworking mentally, like students, like businessmen and actors who have to keep a long excitement of appearing in public. This state of mind progresses until there is general weakness, palpitation, throbbing all over, paralysis, numbness. This nervous state continues until there is disorders in all parts of the body. The stomach refuses to digest, there is bloating, lot of belching, flatulence, and stomach is distended up to bursting, and he doesn't get relief either by passing the flatus or by eructations. Frequent eructations and eructations doesn't relieve. It is more like China. Eructations of carboage relieves the patient for some times. But in China, he doesn't get any relief by passing gas either upward or downward. And Argentum Nitricum is more like China. Most of the gastric symptoms are accompanied by belching, and there is purging and vomiting in the same moment. Not vomiting 1 second and purging next second, but gushing both way, simultaneously, vomiting and purging, like arsenic. He is like Pulstilla patient. He wants cold air, cold room, ice creams, cold drinks, ice, and wants his head to be in cold air. And he feels suffocated in warm room, cannot breathe. He suffocates if other people are in the room. He avoid going to the places of amusement, church, opera, or where there is crowd. Everywhere we find ulcerations. Ulcerations of throat, ulceration of eyelids, cornea, and sensitive soft part, uterus, vagina, and these complaints aggravate during and before menses. The complaints of women comes before and during menses. This is the worst period for the woman. Palpitation, trembling, and coldness. Though the patient desire cold things and want cold things, he is cold and blue. Coldness of lower extremities up to knee and coldness of hands up to elbow. And one more peculiar symptom is aggravation from lying on right side. There are so many remedies, those have aggravation from lying on left side, but there are very rare remedies that has aggravation from lying on right side. Argentum Nitricum is full of eye symptoms. There is pain, swelling, tumefaction, opacities of cornea with raw denuded appearance of eyes with lot of discharge from the eyes, photophobia from looking the fine prints or sewing for long time, or it is a remedy for young people who suffers from far-sightedness, young people who has been suddenly taken to far-sightedness. Argentum Nitricum eye symptom are ameliorated by cold applications and aggravated by heat. Then comes throat symptoms. There are growths, wart-like growths, polypoid growths in throat, genitals and anus. Hence, we can use this remedy as antipsychotic remedy, and it has got all discharges that are necessary for psychotic miasm. And in throat there is a splinter-like sensation, a fish bone-like sensation in throat like hypersulfur. It has stick in throat when swallowing. So we see its close relation to hypersulfur. But hypersulfur wants warm drinks, warm room and warmth ameliorate hypersulfur. Whereas Argentum Nitricum wants cold room, cold air and averse to warmth. In dry chronic catarrh, alumina and natrum has stick sensation in throat. But where the redness and tumefaction of throat is there, it has no effects. Nitric acid, hypersulfur and Argentum Nitricum are three remedies most prominent in fishbone sensation in throat. Loss of appetite and refuses drink, and there is marked aggravation from sugar, desires sugar but it aggravates, eructations, flatulence. It causes green diarrhea in nursing infants. Stool is mucus, spinach-like, and it turns green, remaining on diaper for some time. And there are so many other remedies for green grass-like diarrhea like chamomilla, arsenic and muxol. So marked is the aggravation from sugar that nursing infant will get diarrhea if the mother eats candies. Kent gives us a case that nothing helped the baby till he discovered that mother was eating candies. And then he advised the mother to stop the candies and he prescribed Argentum Nitricum to the baby and he recovered. Nash quotes Allen and Norton in regards to eyes that Argentum Nitricum has performed a wonderful work in ophthalmia, a purulent ophthalmia. In hospitals and in private, no eye has been lost and everyone was treated with Argentum Nitricum with 30 or 200 potency. There was chemosis and most purulent discharge from the eyes with the cornea becoming hazy. Subjective symptoms were none, and the absence of subjective symptoms with purulent discharge from the eyes, swelling of the lids and redness all indicated Argentum Nitricum. and it cured each and every case. Nash tells his personal experience in cases of ophthalmia neonatum with Marksol. He says that when purulent matter pouring out of the eyes when opening the eyes, Marksol acts very well, and he has cured many cases with Marksol in ophthalmia neonatum. Few clinical cases. A poor little girl of 6 was in great terror of anticipation when the school bell rang, and she put her head between her 2 hands and vomited. Anticipation, fear was the symptom, and Argentum Nitricum was given and she was cured, and she was going to school happily after that. Second case is of a young man who was suffering from flatulence, dyspepsia, worse after taking afternoon tea, and he was not relieved by any medicine. Pulsatilla and Carbovage affected only temporarily. No medicine was curing him till Argentum Nitricum was given. Another case is given by Dr. Clark in his dictionary, a case of epilepsy caused by fright and occurring at menstrual period. Pupils before the attack remain dilated for many days or for some hours, and after the attack she was very restless and trembling of the hands were there, and Argentum Nitricum cured her. To sum up Argentum Nitricum, just imagine a withered, dried up patient made sick by many diseases, and the patient is hurried, apprehensive. Simple nervous conditions to full-fledged locomotor ataxia, vertigo, lack of coordination, dizziness, lack of control, lack of balance everywhere on physical and mental plan, obsessions, irrational thoughts, time passes too slow, must hurry, must walk fast, apprehensions causes diarrhea in infants, green spinach-like diarrhea, or turns green after remaining on diaper, craves fresh air, cool air, purulent discharges from the mucous membranes. If you find a combination of these, desire for sugar, desire for salt, desire cold things, cold drinks, and aggravation or suffocation from warmth or warm room, and in addition to that, if the patient is aggravated from sugar, then Argentum Nitricum is a definite remedy. With this